Hi, I'm Rose McDonough, and today we are going to make some homemade ice cream. I do have an ice cream maker, but I found that this no churn recipe, which I originally got years ago from somebody called Danielle on the website Yumly, and I've thought it was so good. I, of course, have adapted it. I like ice cream, but ice cream doesn't always like me. Not really sure what is in it that doesn't make it so good for me, but this I can eat all the time. So I just pulled out of the refrigerator this bowl because I want it to be really cold, and I'm going to put into it 1 pint or 2 cups or 16 ounces, whatever you want to say, of heavy whipping cream. I've used heavy whipping cream when it's maybe a day or two out of code, and I've not had any bad results with it. So don't panic. We're going to thicken it up and it's going to work just beautifully. Nothing in here, no sugar added in here, because we're going to use the sugar at a later time. When you start out making this, don't walk away forever. You can walk away for a couple of minutes, but honestly, within 5 minutes, you have taken this heavy cream and you have then turned it into whipped cream. All right, so I've lifted this up and I'm going to start out on stir. I don't want it splattering too much. And then I'm only going up to 8, not to 10, but 10 is the highest it goes. That's because I have 2 cups. You don't want to go any higher than that. While that is going on, I'm going to my next ingredients, which is a can of sweetened condensed milk. Sweetened condensed milk has some sugar into it. So this is where our sweetener comes from. I'm using my small rubber scraper. If you have to go out and buy rubber scrapers, get a half a rubber scraper. It works so well for inside cans and bottles. This did not need to be chilled. Only the milk in the bowl needed to be chilled, and the container we're going to put it in when we put it in the freezer. You can add whatever you want. I'm going to add some cocoa, because I'm making some chocolate ice cream this time. We were just talking that vanilla ice cream with some fruit would be good as well. I have almond extract, vanilla. You can use peppermint. I've used peppermint before and then put chocolate chips into it, and that's been delicious as well. But I'm going to just say, add just a little bit of coffee extract. Not everybody likes that, but this ice cream's for me, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to mix this really well together, and I'm going to turn over here and watch. It's starting to thicken, and that's what you need to start watching for. Is it starting to thicken? When it starts to thicken and all the air is incorporated, very quickly it changes. So when you see that, I have to keep looking over here because I don't want it to get too far. If you go from whipped cream and continue whipping, then it comes back to milk. So there's that fine minute of time in between when you need to be careful. Let's get this keep going so I can show you what it looks like. And I'm just going to stir this up again until I get all of it incorporated. The original recipe called for 3/4 of a cup of cocoa. I found it to be a little bit too bitter when I do that, so I chose not to. I love dark chocolate, but it was just almost grainy for me, so that's why I've learned to play with my recipe and bring it down to a half of a cup of cocoa instead. Don't laugh, I had to get on my tiptoes so I can see inside that pretty well. This isn't my normal place for working because it's too high over here for the KitchenAid. Alright, this is all fairly well mixed. I only have a little bit left to go. This is getting to where I need it to go. So we went from it being all that creaminess to you can actually see it is drier. It changes color, and as you're mixing it, you can watch and see the lines going in there. That's how you know that you're almost to that point. I don't want to break this down, so I'm not going to stir it. I stir it, I'm going back to making milk. What I want to do is mix my ingredients in. I'm going to fold it in. So I'm going to just lift up this bowl, and I'm going to pour the ingredients that have been well mixed together over here, and then we're going to fold it together. If you want to, at this time, you could add in chocolate chips. pieces of candy. Whatever it is that you're thinking that you want to add in, now is the time. Some recipes that I have read for no churn ice cream will tell you to wait an hour or two and then fold it in. I've never had any issues folding it in right now. And honestly, I can't stand being bothered going back and forth to the freezer and trying to remember and set timers. It's hard enough when you do things with breads to remember to do that. Alright, so I always try to get every spoonful out, but it's not necessary that I do that. And I'm going to switch to a larger rubber scraper. It's going to make it a little bit easier for me to do my mixing. Once I'm done with this, if I'm going to put it, I know this is going to sound weird to you, I'm going to put it into a bread pan. So I've already frozen my bread pan and made it cold, and I've just pulled it out. If you don't have a bread pan, ask some old grandmother or aunt if they have any extra ones that they're no longer using, because nobody hardly ever makes homemade bread anymore. If you can't find one there, check on Goodwill. If you can't find one on Goodwill, then I guess you have to go to the store and buy one. But a lot of times now, you can't even find metal ones. You can only find glass, because glass seems to work a little bit better in the oven. It disperses the heat more evenly, they say. But this is one of the times that you really, really need to have metal. If you did not have metal baking pan or bread pan, you can try one of your other ones, like an 8x8 inch baking pan. That would work too, but this seems to really work well for me. Alright, I'm trying to go across the bottom and scrape off any that has gone to the bottom. And I'm just folding in. Occasionally I don't get it all folded really well, which almost gives me a marble ice cream, and I don't mind that. Marble ice cream is just as good to me as chocolate. Okay, I'm lying. It's almost as good to me as chocolate. Chocolate is, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite ice cream. In our house, if you don't like chocolate, well, we don't know what to say. Oh, it must mean you have blue eyes, because the blue-eyed people seem to like vanilla better. All right, I've got this mixed. You notice that I've lost a little bit of air, and that's okay. And I'm just going to take it and layer it into my pan. There's a little bit of white in there. It's the whipped cream. It's fine. It's not going to be the end of the world. If you needed to do a really fast dessert, although this isn't exactly mousse, because mousse has a lot of different ingredients added to it, like eggs, whole eggs, and we're not using eggs on this one. This would work as a mousse if you needed to have a really fast recipe for a dessert someday. It tastes absolutely delicious at this point, although it's going to taste even better when it's frozen. The recipe tells you to freeze it for about 5 hours. I've had to, in a bind, because I was making it at the last minute, pull it out after 3 hours. It's a lot like soft serve ice cream if you do that. If you're going to be having it for dessert, get up, take it out of the freezer about 10 minutes before you think that you're going to be doing your dessert. Let it sit on your counter, and it will be perfect and easy for you to serve. That's it. I take it, I just layer it out a little bit in here. Oh my gosh, this is one of the times I just want to lick the bowl because it's so good. Alright, layer it out just a little bit so it's flattened. You see it fills the whole bread pan quite nicely. I'm going to use this one here just to scrape the rest of it off. So I'm going to have a chunk of chocolate. I have made before where at this point I have taken fudge and I've poured some fudge over top of it, and then I've swirled like this the fudge all the way through the ice cream, and that has been absolutely delicious to add to. Salted caramel, if you can get that into a jar, this is the time when you can add that in too. Okay, that's it. The next time you see this, it'll be a few hours from now, and it is going to be ready for us to sample for our dessert for dinner tonight. So we finished our dinner, cleaned up the dishes, and now it's time for our chocolate ice cream for dessert. So this has been sitting out for a few minutes, so it's a little bit softer. I've got 2 cups here because Brooke and I are the only ones who want dessert right now. And it's still a little bit at the soft serve stage, and we're going to get a nice scoop of ice cream. In about 2 more hours, it's going to be really hard, and you will definitely need to sit out before you can do this. It's There's a little bit of the white in there, but it surely doesn't matter because again, that's just some of the whipped cream that we made and it's just going to be delicious and tasty. Brooke already had her hand out for her. She was ready to try some of it. While she's getting her scoop of ice cream.
Oh, it's delicious.
And it's delicious. There we go. I want to go ahead and pull some names. My shout out today is going to go to Miss Catarcio, Veronica Catarcio. I used to teach with her at Riverside, and she posts on things when she's looking saying, watching me is just like sitting across the table from me watching me, and I love that. And the next one, okay. Elise Witowski. It's not that Elise watches all my cooking videos, but the one where I read the story, I see she'll send me Snapchats of her daughter on the iPad or the phone, whatever she is on, and she is watching me read. She loves when Miss Rose reads to her. So thank you. For the rest of you, please like, subscribe, and we'll get your name put in here too, and we'll pull out some names for you. Thanks, and have a really good night.